Hi everyone, it's Jen again. I am back here with another video for the Feedback Quest 8. This time I am playing a game called Untitled Toxic Werecoyote Yaoi. Yeah, this looks like a Ren'Py game that was made for web. I do kind of wish there was an ability to go full screen. But I'll try to edit the video to crop it a little bit better. Let's go ahead and start. Can tell it's like the classic Ren'Py by the menu, kind of default layout and stuff, so it doesn't look like there was a lot of things that were changed here. But it's functional, it's clean. Let's go ahead and start. He stares at you. Looks like a filtered kind of background with an outlined character. I think the white outline is a good choice when you have a very dark background and your character also has a dark outline or dark silhouette overall. There's some good contrast here between like the face and the hair and the outfit. But yeah, compared to the background, everything is like pretty dark. I do like the choice here of having a light text box and the dark font, given how much dark stuff is going on here in the background and the artwork. Usually I tend to go the opposite route just because I'm the type of person who always prefers night mode. But yeah, whatever works for your project. That's all he's doing. This might be a little bit difficult for me to read because again we have some of that uneven fonting with like the weight of the line kind of being in random distribution, where some areas it's thicker than others, almost like you have a heavy pen that is the ink is flowing inconsistently. Normally it wouldn't be that big of an issue if the dialogue is sparse and spread out, but because I'm also looking at this in a web browser and it's kind of small, I feel like everything is just a little bit too small here when I'm looking at it on my web browser. And again, I would just like to see a full screen option so that I can make it larger so I could read it a little bit more comfortably. Right now everything just feels a little bit too small for my old eyes. You can look into those eyes all night, and they can drill into your soul until the end of time. That's cute difference of expressions. There should be words here, like ones that you speak. Okay? From your mouth. Of course you can talk. Now there's some hard pauses in there. That you have to click, I think, to get through, or I was too impatient to wait. I think this is where the game could benefit from having a little button to indicate that you want the player to interact. So usually at the end of like the dialogue, and a lot of these like kind of very text heavy games, you might have some type of a blinking arrow to indicate that it wants reader player input to progress the text. I think this game could benefit from that type of an indicator. Of course you can talk. How could you have made it through 10 years of lecturing duties if you couldn't? But most important here, you have to be the one that speaks first. And what brings you around here? Dear God, what are you doing? It's obvious what brought him around here. It was you. You invited him here for an informational meeting between two work associates. Nothing more than that. Fortunately, he just gives a chirp of laughter as he stretches out his already slender form. Yeah, like this is a little bit hard to read. I think they could use a little bit more spacing. A little more room to breathe. When you get things that are just like right up against the borders of stuff, it just feels a little cramped. I think the positioning of this name could use a little bit more margin around like the top here, especially give it a little more breathing room. You said you were considering mentoring me, yeah? It's my first year of professing and all. The proper term is professorship. My first year professorshipping. And I figure no better time now than to ask. The day right before November. Exactly. You seem happy to help me out, actually. Almost like you were expecting me to ask you. No, you didn't merely expect him to ask. You planned it. For the last few months, you followed this man's schedule extensively, just so you could find the perfect moment to strike. Metaphorically, of course. There's too much at stake to take that statement literally. This shock of yours, I kept seeing this in my runs, and I was wondering what was up about it. So some of the sprite or visual display with the speaker is a little bit confusing. From reading the summary of the game, I'm assuming that this is the protagonist, that is the you that's being referred to, having all these thoughts, and you did this and you did that. But just jumping into it blind, I don't think I would necessarily have known that. And right here, when we have this person kind of speaking off screen, it's like we're looking at ourselves in third person or something, or like how he would be looking at us. And so I find all of this kind of perspective shift a little bit confusing. The background's not changing, nothing's changing with the camera, but it feels like what we're supposed to be experiencing if the protagonist is this character is a little bit confusing how it's being communicated. That I think this would also be one of those instances where it would be more clear if you had the protagonist character like down here by the dialogue box, how they do in a lot of visual novels, where you, the reader, are supposed to be one of the characters, and that helps kind of distinguish between like you, the character in the story, and the other characters who are speaking to you. It just kind of helps cement those perspectives, because right now I find the perspective of the story a little bit jumbled, that I don't feel really immersed in the story as being referred to as the you of the protagonist. The shock of yours. I kept seeing this in my runs, and I was wondering what was up about it. Not just a shock, it's accumulation of my life's work. So here, I'm also a little bit confused, like if Canis is the you, where is this anger coming from? I feel like some internal dialogue could help clarify that. So right now, the character Canis just feels like very a separate character from like the you. I'm just kind of like a third person watching things unfolding. Unless that's what it's supposed to be. I'm a little bit confused. Miles from any major populated areas, with daily updates and renovations for security and self-sufficiency. I do like these expressions, though, like this kind of like, wahahaha. This stronghold is practically airtight. And yet I'm still breathing. It's a metaphor. A burst of frustration held back as you finally open the door, watching as he darts through. First step completed, to no surprise. You normally keep your living space functional, but it took on an especially long while to make some space for company. That's kind of a funny animation. It feels like this character is a little bit like chaotic good or something. Like he seems, his expressions seem so like innocent and just kind of happy. And then like the way that he's acting kind of just like very, chaotic. This is put to the test by the I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. The Fuggerette basically being magnetized to nearly everything you own, threatening to shatter important equipment with a goofy smile. Yeah, so Okay, kind of like a sort of innocent agent of chaos here, it feels like. Oh, you weren't kidding. This place is swanky. Off he goes with a jolt, to a shelf that you manage to restrain with only a few volumes of your findings raining down upon you. In mere seconds, they are crumpled in your shaking arms. Even if your official area of study is in architectural engineering, that doesn't prevent you from having other queries to investigate. Throughout the past decade, you notice something within yourself, something that has certain external symptoms. In addition to your intelligence, calculated to be an IQ of 207 from your youth, you have suspected that your genetic structure has rapidly evolved to rapidly evolved to form entirely distinct from humanity. From your recorded data alone, you can see enhancements in your performance, including endurance, running speed, general constitution, and indestructibility, and jaw strength. Sure, there could be some minor memory issues, but it's nothing that you haven't worked around. In fact, quite a few of these notes ended up aiding you in your duties. These words are perhaps some of the most important ones you will ever craft. If these were more damaged than they are now, what would the world end up being? About this mentorship and all, the big issue would be how to integrate poetry and architecture. There's sort of a cognitive gap between those two, yeah? It's nothing too difficult to reconcile. Yeah, the whole mentor-mentee. Shipping? Some sort of equivalent exchange, right? We could do something with environmentalism, perhaps. It's been estimated that human brain holds about 2.5 million gigabytes of information at a time. But the short-term memory lasts about 20 seconds. One can forget 50% of any new information learned in an hour. Personal hypothesis that is interpersonal relationships could supplement this occurrence. Well, that is indeed a statement. Not quite how that links to what I just said. And what to follow up with. Your nails look amazing. Such a dramatic shade of black, very fitting for the season. Didn't expect you to bring out the claw. Didn't expect you bring out the claws for. A rough bark escapes your throat, the semblance of a laugh loosely thrown over. He takes a staggered leap backwards, still staring at you. What are you going on about? There's nothing going on with my hands, honestly. Just stay calm, stay still. A momentous task for him. And I'll set dinner set up, yes? Before he can even take a breath, you slink into the kitchen, hoping to recover from that little snafu. Now, cooking. Focus. It's been a bit since you've been able to focus on getting an actual meal for yourself. Though it's nothing gourmet, there's an honored craft to a fine stew. When you open the refrigerator, you stare directly at the buttocks of Ferguret, who is already rummaging through the very bowels of your diet. Suddenly the corners look very welcoming. Wow, look at that charming pile of dust. Wonderful time had by all. Sorry, I guess I'm hungry after all, hehe. There's some trail mix on the way here. That wasn't enough and all. There's a pot under the sink. Just put it on the stove. You gather the ingredients. For the recipe, you pull out a small cabbage, 2 carrots, and 2 cloves of garlic, half a green pepper, a lone apple, one that you find yourself absent-mindedly cradling in your hands, and 1 stick of butter. The rest will be one of those cabinets, you are sure. And he slaps a hunk of meat still resting on the counter. Oh, you were defrosting that after all, weren't you? Who's that? A momentary break of synapse is nothing to worry about, you tell yourself as you try to scramble for a calm, refined response. Excuse me, are you looking for anyone in particular? Hold on, there wasn't any missing persons reports he might have overheard in the past few days. Were you even involved in any missing persons reports at all in the past month or so? You stare back at the calendar. It's still Halloween. He's in your kitchen helping you make dinner that the two of you will share. That's all. You haven't gone after humans yet, you promise yourself. Sorry, force of habit. My folks sort of had this neo-animalist thing neo-animist thing going on, and it's been drilled into my head since I was young. Like things having souls, you know? And those souls sticking around after the body dies. That's the type of thing that's hard to let go of. Are you implying that we're... Implications of you two? The implication the two of you are as close to animals as it comes? What about the implication of all the death that ever occurred, or could ever occur, never going away? Perhaps the two of you, even in death, could stay. Wait, what are we making again? Some sort of soup, right? Just a common hunter's stew. Finally decide the chunk of meat into the pot, one bit at a time. My father and I used to make it on our outings. He made sure I knew how important it was, that it all went successfully. Tactfully leave out the times that you feared that that the two of you could have starved. And it wouldn't be your fault. You hold up the wagging piece of dead flesh like it was the prone sliver of a fallen god. Is venison, if you're wondering. Yes, dear. And into the sizzling pot it goes. You can feel the soft gushes of breath at the back of your neck. You tell yourself you shouldn't turn around. Do not look at his face that's so close to what an angel probably looks like. So, just wondering. So close. What do you want me to do? You're cooking. You're cooking. I think you're cooking. You and a man who is about 10 years your younger. Alone, in the place you have holed yourself up in for decades now. And you believe he's now touching your hand. What do you really want to do? You're suffocating me, I'm getting to a delicate part of the recipe now. Are you sure you don't need to gawk somewhere else? A delicate part to making stew? I don't know, sir, if that exists. I don't know what kind of fancy stew technique you're using that I'm unaware of, but generally stew is stew because you just throw it all in a pot and boil it. Or set up plates and stuff. I can do that. Just give me room to think. Yeah, dude, personal space. Haven't you ever heard of personal space? Just stare vaguely at the china in the cabinet you swear they're in, trying not to meet him in the eyes. Wow, you've got china in a cabinet, even though you, live by yourself and haven't had company in, decades? I don't even have china in a cabinet. I'll get you a drink, yes? Pretty sure I still have some water in my bidon. I'm good. He's now in your living room. You were pulling out a half-emptied Gamay Noir from one of your cabinets. A versatile cousin of the Pinot Noir. Said to pair well with turkey, chicken, porks of all kinds. How come those are all white meats and we're serving venison? I don't know much about wine. Including, perhaps. Wait, you did invite me for dinner, yeah? He's still in your living room. I'm kind of a keto plan at the moment, so I hope that doesn't mess up anything you've got planned for us. Say, about the research here. Seems to be leafing through a pile of loose papers. What exactly is a Canis in Manus, anyway? Double-cylinder deadbolt like the one you are a double-cylinder deadbolt like the one you are using on your front door. On all of your outside-facing doors. Allows for it to be locked on both sides. These locks can be opened with a single key. Are you implying that because he said the word like Canis Immoralis that you are planning on locking him from the inside to the outside? Because he knows too much because you left important information lying about for him to stumble on? A key just like the one you might have dropped outside. So in summary, the genius has locked himself inside his own home again. Your heart begins to shift in your ribs, twisting and pushing against your lungs. Oh, okay, so I'm not plotting. Wait, I plotted to have this person come here. But I'm not plotting on trapping him here. I just accidentally trapped myself. Your heart begins to shift in your ribs, twisting and pushing against your lungs. Not now. Taking care not to make any noise to draw unneeded concern. You bolt toward the opposite wall, straining to pull your burning mass of cells from the ground. Vision blurring, you can still make out your shaking arm taking a firm grasp against the frame. And with a leap, you can feel the sickening crack of your skull. That's not a window. That's canvas. There was a period of your life, one that you assumed ended quite recently, that you painted landscapes. Why, from your little performance there, you have to admit you are a bit of a virtuoso of the form. When you weren't stuck indoors adapting to humanity, you were in plain air. Every stroke made another bit of life captured. A leaf, stray roots, the shadow stalking the ground, light falling from the sky. You could have spent days out there unaware of the form your body took. Your later work seemed to have drifted towards the figural, oddly enough. First, through unknown shades hiding in the background. Then a more distant figure in motion, time and time again, leading to. And also, is this me? And why do you say that? I'm not stupid, okay? I know when someone's trying to pull something. If something outright admits that it's hiding something, if something outright admits that it's hiding something, wouldn't it be hiding nothing at all then? The game is up. You now are known as the guy who has secrets that might haunt you for the rest of your life. Oh God, does that mean you're the reason why I kept finding all those piles of trail mix all over the place? I ate those. You're not sure what exactly he said after that. Could have been something about the rest of the university finding out what you've been up to for the past 10 years. What have I been up to for the past 10 years? Was I painting pictures? Was I locking myself in my house? Was I leaving trail mix out to lure this strangely not smart but smart person? Or was I collecting bottles of wine? I don't know. It could have been something the rest of the university figuring out who you are. Could have been something about him being okay with you practically stalking him for the last few years and then straight asking him out right now. The last one, for some reason, was your deepest hope in all of this. As your body finally shifts, you know this exchange occurs. You want to know what a Canis and Manus is. Wait, what? That would be me. Canis and Manus, translated from Latin, can be read as inhuman dog. Just like what you've become. You open your jaws. He was strangely like calm, that he was like looking at this like werewolf creature. I mean, I guess he was kind of shaking, but he wasn't like calling us out for being a werewolf creature in that moment. I'm a little confused. I gotta be honest. This whole approach to telling the story might be a little bit too fragmented for me to kind of wrap my mind around. It has a lot of like interesting little details, and there's some creative use of allegorical language, but sometimes it's a little bit like confusing to me. So I don't know if it's just not, I'm just not on the right wavelength, but I'm a little bit lost. Your open jaws frame his chin, his lips feeling every blow of your staggered, conflicting breath. So close, oh, so close. One snap, and this can all be over. Just then, you feel a solid wet mass in the back of your throat. You pull back, your gnarled paw covering your mouth. If you weren't covered in fur, you'd probably be flesh red. This was not the type of eating you were expecting to experience. Holy crap. But I mean, Fergret then gives up the left hook of someone who feels like they've been giving out too many left hooks in their life. After you slam into the wall against several of your landscapes, follow suit, one after the other against you. Another blind snap, and the taste of metal floods against your mouth. Yarr! You open your eyes and he winces, bunched over a hamstring that is thoroughly torn. Is this what you wanted? He is bleeding out fast, all because of you. You know what? He could have been devoured right now. It could have been so easy. But instead, because of that pitiful man that's still inside of you, you embrace him in your arms. You throw his body through the window pane, bounding after him through the broken glass. The corpse staggers upright, rebound against the damaged leg, turning to face you with a soft grin. Blood trailing down his face. How long have I been at this? Does it even matter to you at this point? Having some company in your state is good for you. Two of you had real names at some point in time. Funnily enough, you have not the slightest lick of what they were. You call yourself Canis and Manus. You call him Fergret Mortem. He fled dead. I'll see you soon, all right? So maybe this is the type of story that I would need to read a few more times to try to understand the subtext a little bit more. But right now, I kind of get an idea for like the twist at the end, but I feel like the build up to it was a little bit it didn't feel like real satisfying to me. I would have liked to have a little bit more context clues leading up to it that maybe felt a little bit more intentional or more I feel like maybe the all the writing could just be a little bit more organized. It feels a little bit chaotic, maybe like the the character. It just I feel confused. Yeah, that's my takeaway from it. I thought that there was some really cute expressions of the sprite artwork. I think the theme and like the ideas behind the story have a lot of potential, but maybe some of the writing was just it just lost me a little bit, and that could just be me. Those are my thoughts. Wish the creator best of luck, and yeah, if you're working on something, don't forget to enjoy the process. Take care. Bye bye.